So let's talk about Logan Forsythe then. He's getting some more playing time at shortstop because Elvis Andrus has hit the injured list with a strained hammy. So, Ron, I don't know if you strained your hammy, but it doesn't sound like a good time. Are you interested in Logan Forsythe?
I've actually torn a hammy, and that's one of the
Oh,
most
really?
oh, good Lord, one of the most painful things. I've torn my ACL. I've shredded my knee before,
Oh,
and the torn hammy was way more painful than the shredded ACL.
what were you doing?
I was actually squatting.
Oh,
Not for any
stretch.
reason. He was just kind
No,
of
just
squatting there.
I was in the middle of the mall, and I just decided to pop a squat, and I did it. So
All the old
tore a
ladies
hammy.
were power walking around.
Yep.
Ron's just like, I'm just going to squat here in front of this Lens Crafters.
I had the same I had the same biker shorts. I had the same headband on that they had, the hand weights, and I just popped it, and I don't know.
Fortunately, inside the Lens Crafters was a microscope, and they were able to diagnose you on the spot with a torn hamstring.
And they used one of those little itty bitty eyeglass screwdrivers to reattach it right on the spot. So it was a clutch performance from the people at Lens Crafters. Plus, they have a lot of magnifying glasses and microscopes, like you said. So yeah, Logan Forsythe. I keep getting sidetracked and forgetting who the hell we're talking about with all these wonderful conversations we're having. Back Logan Forsythe. I mean, he's done it before. You know, I root for him a little bit because yet again he was a guy that had a couple of solid seasons with the Rays. 2015 at 281, and then they ended up dealing him. 2016 he hit 20 homers at 264, so he is a little bit useful. But that's not been for a little while. It didn't really pan out with the Dodgers. The Rangers are kind of a strange team because they're a combination of some young guys and then these old kind of has-beens that are kind of having a resurgence. So I think of middle infield type guys that if you need a little bit of help, I might trust him a little bit more than the Tommy Listellas and Aledmus Diaz's of the world. But yet again, I don't really need to actively add him in a lot of places, and I'd have to be in a really deep league where I have a hole in, like I said, a middle infield spot to add him.
I have been suckered in by Logan Forsythe a handful of times. Most recently, the 2017 season, after he had that 20 home run binge with the Rays in 2016. I thought this is a guy who's going to perform. He's finally started to hit fairly well. The average will be okay. Walks a little bit, has some power, steals a little bit. And then he had an awful 2017 season with the Dodgers, got traded halfway through, I think in 2018, actually. Either way, I get suckered in by him, and then he sucks. So I don't want to get suckered in by him. I always liked his skill set, at least a little bit. I think if you are super desperate for a middle infielder, I think he'll be perfectly fine to just kind of plug in there. The Rangers are not a good team, but there's always a chance for a little bit of offense in that ballpark. So maybe he can help you a little bit, but to help everyone else, I am going to refuse to acknowledge Logan Forsythe's change. So maybe it will continue, because if I said I buy in, immediately he will stop hitting. So for all of you, you might go ahead and pick him up, because I'm going to shun him. I will not be resting my laurels on Logan Forsythe.
I too have been sucked in on the Forsythe in recent years.
So you didn't have foresight for Forsythe?
I did not.
Ooh.
Nope. I needed to go to Lens Crafters apparently, but yeah, you do have to like the play discipline so far and the batting average and everything. But again, it doesn't seem we've got Elvis Andrus already out on a rehab assignment, so seems like as soon as he's back, which shouldn't be too terribly long, again, it's going to be a playing time squeeze for him. So you're probably looking at a deep league roster at this point.